is Georgia Congressman Austin Scott. He is a member of the Armed Services and Agricultural Committees. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks very much for being here. What are your expectations?
Well, good morning, Maria. And Mike Turner, certainly the head of Intel, has great insight into this. He and I will both leave for Brussels this week to meet with our NATO partners over there. I think that the majority of us expect that Russia will make an aggressive action against the Ukraine within the next couple of weeks. Putin has done a lot of things over the last several weeks to give himself additional options in anything that he chooses to do. And if you look at this past week, where he moved his personal yacht out of Germany, where he knows that we would have seized it had he engaged in any type of aggression against Ukraine, I think that's an indicator there that he is leaning more and more towards aggression with the Ukraine instead of away from it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to talk about in terms of foreign affairs. Now you've got Russia, China, and Iran as a partnership. China falling short of its promises on trade with the United States. Of course, a trade deal was put in place by President Trump, but the CCP is now only buying $288.8 billion of U.S. goods between 2020 and 2021. That's 57% of the goods that it promised to buy. What are your thoughts in terms of this partnership between China, Russia, and even Iran having been brought into the fold?
So a couple of things that I would point out to your viewers, Maria. China voted with Russia in the UN Security Council this past week, maybe a little longer than a week ago. And that is something that they have not done in the past. Typically, they've abstained from those votes, but they did vote with Russia over the last couple of weeks. So that was kind of a telling sign that maybe there is a partnership growing between Russia and China. I personally do not expect China to move on Taiwan over the next several weeks, even if Russia moves on the Ukraine. There are other very smart people who see the same indicators that I do that think China will move against Taiwan. But I tend to believe that they won't move against Taiwan. With regard to the trade agreements, I think that COVID hit all of the major economies in the world extremely hard. And so some of this is the end result of COVID. Now, the other thing I would tell you with regard to China, though, is you're shaking hands with somebody who has never upheld their end of the deal when you create a trade agreement with them. So I do think that we as the United States are better served if we go back to Asia, have unilateral trade agreements that are expanded with countries like Vietnam, Singapore, and other countries in China, in Asia who share our interests and our values as the United States, and actually want a level playing field and a fair trading partner in the United States than with China.
Yeah, but Congressman, it's not just trade. I mean, there's surveillance issues coming from the CCP. We also understand now that the CCP has been buying up land, agricultural land within the United States. Texas tried to come up with its own law to keep China, the CCP, from buying its important land by the electrical grid. Your thoughts on what China is doing right now in terms of buying up agricultural land?
Yeah, so they've been very smart about what they've done. We need to put these land purchases through CFIUS or some other type of government review before people who are not our friends are allowed to buy land inside the United States. In some cases, they try to buy it close to military bases, which gives them the ability to do certain things that none of us want them to do in the United States. And so I do think that there needs to be some type of federal review of any real asset purchases by people like China, Russia, and others who are not our friends. And I think that's coming. Yeah. I wish it had come sooner rather than later. The other thing I would point out to you, Maria, China's been very smart about how they have injected themselves into our supply chain, specifically with agriculture, the purchase of seed companies, the purchase of companies that we count on for our crop protection products. If you look at what ChemChina has accumulated over the last several years with regard to the inputs of our agriculture and that supply chain, it's pretty concerning to me about how much control they have over the food supply in the United States.
Wow. That is very concerning, Congressman. I don't know why we've put ourselves into this position. Is there any effort to start taking supply chains back to the United States?
Well, absolutely. And we saw this with President Trump, right? I mean, this is one of the primary reasons that he was elected, I believe, is because Americans, whether they're Democrats or Republicans or independents, they recognize that there's a difference in having a mutually beneficial trade agreement and allowing another country to actually control your food supply, your pharmaceutical supply, and the other things that we as Americans have come to enjoy and appreciate having an abundance of. So I think that there is a desire from the American public to see Congress work together in a bipartisan manner to stop this and to remove people who are not our friends from our supply chain. So we need trade relationships with Asia. We simply need to be trading with people who share our interests and share our values as human beings. And China is just not that country.
Yeah. Congressman, we'll be watching. We really need to see leadership on this issue. Congressman, it's good to see you. Austin Scott joining us this morning in Georgia. We'll be right back.
Thank you, Maria.